Hey traders, Bearable Trading here. I'm just going to do a brief video on how to connect Rithmic RTrader with Multicharts. Now, back in May, things were changed with Rithmic in that you couldn't log into more than one platform concurrently. Otherwise, you would be charged, data fees for each login. So if you had RTrader going and you had Multicharts going and you had Jigsaw going, or some other platform that you were feeding with RTrader or Rithmic Data, then each of those would count as a login and you would be charged separate CME data fees. And I think if you had more than three, you would be counted as a professional, and in which case you would actually be charged for each exchange. So it could run into several $100s. Now that's now been fixed, and I use Rithmic RTrader for my execution. I don't use it for charting. I love the dome on Rithmic. The data is excellent, if not the best data for a retail trader. And I like the way the dome works, the order and entry. So that's what I use for my execution. But I do like to look at multi-charts for charting purposes. And so what I'm going to do is show you how you can it's now been changed in multi-charts, and I guess other platforms have either changed or are in the process of doing it, where you can now use the two platforms concurrently, which hasn't been possible for for a month or so. So the first thing you need to do is go to multi-charts, and I will bring up the quote manager window, because we just need to make sure if your settings in there are correct to enable connection to Rithmic. So this is the first step, and we bring up the quote manager window. You can just ignore this. This is because I don't currently have Rithmic open, in which case what you'll get is the connection is broken. It's not actually let me feed data into multi-charts because I'm not currently logged into Rithmic. So you just need to make sure that your settings are correct. So you go to Tools, Data Sources, we find Rithmic 01. This is a live, it's a live account, live data. So we go to Settings, and up here you've got your password. Your login account number is actually above here. I've just moved it out the way so we can't see my my login details, but your password, this all self-populates. And Rithmic 01 for the live account. If you have a paper account, I guess you are okay. Yep, there's paper trading. You would find what's specific for your connection, but Rithmic account is this sort of default live Rithmic account, and you need to make sure this is checked. Connect via RTraderPro. So once your settings are correct in multi-charts, if that's unchecked, this will populate, but we need to keep that checked. Once your settings are correct in multi-charts, we can actually close multi-charts down, so we come out of multi-charts completely. Now we need to, once that's set up in multi-charts, that will default every time you then log into multi-charts. You may need to restart your PC, but every time you then go into multi-charts, that will be your default settings. And you have to get the data to feed through from Rithmic. You need to log into Rithmic RTrader first before logging into multi-charts. Now the important things here, this is the login page for RTrader Pro. We've got orders and we've got market data enabled, and we also have this little box here, allow plugins, that's currently grayed out. You need to just click on that so it turns yellow. Allow plugins. You'll then fill in your user ID and your password exactly the same in both boxes before logging in. Okay, so I'll just move that off screen to input my details. Okay, so we're logging into RTraderPro now, and we're logging in first. Excuse me. And this will actually show that RTraderPro is now behaving as the host. I'll just bring this in just before I see my account details. We can see here. We see it says host. Okay, so this means that this is going to be feeding the data into Multicharts once we open that up. So this is the current state of the market, the live market. I mean, we've just reopened, so it's a bit quiet, but I will bring up. I'll just bring up a dome. Okay, so this is just the the crude oil. Excuse me. So now we go to Multicharts. Now we're just going to open up Multicharts. And I'll just bring up a chart, and then we'll bring up a dome as well, just to show that the the live data is actually going through into Multicharts. So this is just a crude oil chart. Let me just keep this on top one sec. Okay, so here we can see, it's very quiet at the moment, but this is the. Let's see if there's a bit more action on the ES or something. So here we've got the ES dome and the crude oil dome, just side by side. The good thing with Multicharts, with Rithmic RTrader, we can see you get the full order book. It's not just restricted to the top 5 or 10. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to bring in the Multicharts dome, and we can see a comparison. So here we've got the the Rithmic dome we can see here, We've got the full order book for the ES, and next to it we have the multi-charts, which only shows the the first 10. Now it's a bit quiet at the moment, but I may as well just leave this running for a few minutes just to see if there is any difference in the speed of data. It's Rithmic Data going into both, so I'm not comparing one data feed to another, but in terms of is the price changing quicker in the Rithmic dome as opposed to multi-charts, or are they the same? I've when I was using you could only use one login before this plugin was fixed, and I was using the multi-charts dome. I much prefer the using Rithmic dome. I found my execution was better. Whether that was psychological, I don't know. I just found the functionality of it better. As we see here, it's a little bit different. There's just not a lot happening, so that it's not actually a very good time to try and do this. I will try and do another video, comparing the two domes to see if there's a difference. But the main purpose of this was really just to show you how you can now log into both at the same time. So what I do is I look at the I use multi-charts for the charting, but all my execution is done via the Rithmic dome. So it's unlikely we're going to see much of a difference here. If I play this back, at sort of quarter speed, we may actually be able to see a very slight difference, whether it's in terms of the actual price movement or whether it's in terms of the orders amounts being changed and filled and amended. But from the naked eye at this moment, just watching it, it's very difficult to see if there is any difference between either dome. And as I say, it's the same data going into both domes. It's not comparing different data feeds. Okay, so that's it for now. This has been a crazy year, in terms of what's going on around the world. I'm not going to get into that. It's been a great year for trading. August for me is generally a very sort of quiet month. So be aware of that in terms of ranges and volatility. It's it's not necessarily, it may be, it may not be, but just be aware that August can be a little bit quieter in terms of market participants and ranges and things. So be careful. Stick to your plan. Have something in your plan that can allow for that. What you don't want to do is, on a quiet day, just sit there taking trade after trade after trade, and you're buying tops and it's reversing, and you're selling lows and it's reversing, and you're constantly getting chopped out. That's not what you need. You need your method to be able to sort of identify those times and adjust accordingly, even if it means you get out after X amount of trades, or something like that, because a few days of consecutive losses can really sort of decimate an account, particularly in a quiet, choppy period. Okay, well, I'll just leave this for another minute or so just to see if anything, see if we get a flush or something, in which case we might see a quick change between the two domes. Otherwise, I'll sort of end it there. The main markets that we're still doing it is the RBOB and the E-mini mid-cap, the EMD. They're great markets to trade, or have been great markets to trade this year. And so, okay, I shall leave it at that. good luck to everyone. Cheers.